Welcome to the Accountable Love Podcast, where love means being accountable. My name is Aziz. Today, we're going to discuss how committed are you to your opinions. We sit alone, reading books, watching TV, scrolling down social media, and we want to have an opinion. But are we taking the necessary steps to get the context of each discussion or each conversation? We do the same in our relationships. We form opinions to be validated versus bringing value to a relationship. There's a difference. Do you want to bring value, or do you want to just be validated and just be entitled to your opinion? Well, in the podcast today, I discuss how committed are you to your opinion. All right, enjoy. Yeah. So what's going on, everybody? I wanted to discuss how committed are you to your opinions. And like we always say, when people always say people are entitled to their opinions and they're entitled to how they feel. And entitlement means that it's earned. It means that you have some validity behind it. So we are having or discussing anything dealing in relationships. How committed are you to your opinions? Because all you can do is share your opinions and see how valid they are within any discussion or within the overall whole. When you're interacting with other people, they also have opinions and they also have views and emotions. So, is your commitment to your opinion, or is your commitment to honoring the health of the relationship? Is your commitment into honoring the commitment of the relationship, the connection between you and the person, the bond? So ask yourself, how committed should you be to an opinion, something that is an independent thought that runs through your head? Now, yes, it's valid to you. You came up with it and you're looking at it from your point of view, your perspective, and you can see where it makes sense. But once you start adding your opinions to other people's opinions, now you're in search of something greater than you, something greater than just you as a separate entity, you as just having an identity. You're looking for something that's going to merge you and the other person to walk in the same direction, or you and the other people to walk in the same direction. So, how committed should you be to an opinion that you just have without having other people's opinions challenge your opinions and come up with something that is valid for the overall relationship? Whether you're talking to a friend or you're discussing something with a spouse, or you're even having a back and forth or a discussion or maybe a debate or a disagreement with your kids, you have to truly be open to hear what other people have to say to challenge that opinion of yours, to challenge whether your opinion is valid. And the key word is valid. And how do we assess validity? We see how it benefits the overall whole. If our opinion just benefits us and doesn't benefit the people in our lives, are we truly dedicated to the relationship? Are we truly committed to the relationship? Are we committed to our ego and our point of view or our opinions? That's what we have to ask ourselves on a regular basis, because we always have opinions. As humans, we're constantly thinking, we're constantly assessing, we're constantly going in and out of thought, in and out of the unconscious versus the conscious mind. But when you're dealing with opinions and you're dealing with point of views and you're dealing with different perspectives, you have to have a destination. You have to have a clear understanding of where you are going and where you're trying to go as a unit. So you have a friend and they have a difference of opinions on how you should conduct your life or how you should walk or how you should live. You, in turn, instead of getting defensive, instead of just protecting yourself from your allies, because they are your friends. So they're giving you their point of view and their perspective. And to validate your opinion, you have to see the validity in their opinions. Because if you are a person that believes that people should have their opinions, then you also have to take into account that other people will have opinions opposite of yours. Now, we're not going to enter a relationship with people that have opinions that vary from our faith, or people that have opinions that vary from our boundaries, or destroy our deal breakers, or things of that nature. We're definitely not going to have opinions that differ in that extreme of a situation. But when we look at having opinions, we have to stop being so committed to the opinion over the actuality, the truth, or looking for something close to the truth that we can actually walk in. So going back, if your friend doesn't like something or doesn't believe in something, that your way of life, how you're conducting yourself, things of that nature, they will challenge you with that opinion. And that's what makes them a friend, because you're going to value their opinion because you value them and you respect where they're coming from. Doesn't mean you agree with where they're coming from, but you actually take into account their opinion and connect it and challenge it against yours. So you have to have the ability and the capacity to listen to what they're saying and actually look at how what they're saying, the validity in what they're saying, how what they're saying connects with what you're saying. And you got to search for the commonality. When I say the actuality, that's what I mean, the commonality, the thing that allows the relationship to continue to flourish. We have differences, but we have differences with strangers. We have differences with people that we consider enemies, adversaries. We have differences with all kinds of people. So that doesn't make you friends and spouses. It's not the differences, it's the commonalities. And in having opinions, once we cross that bridge where we have difference of opinions, and in this case, they don't agree with your lifestyle, we have to be open to hear what they have to say, because that can make or break the relationship. They can be in our best interest and actually strengthen who we are as people. They can give us a perspective that we didn't look at yet to assess how we're living our lives. Now, if you have a friend in your life, their goal is to improve or enhance your livelihood. So if you're living a lifestyle that's not conducive to what y'all both agreed upon, or they don't recognize you, they know something is wrong. And in turn, you have to believe, or you have to have faith in their opinion to challenge you to be the best you can be. What you're signing on for is not opinions. You're signing on for a destination of faith, a belief. And the belief is for a lifetime, we are here to enhance each other. And when we see somebody going in the wrong direction, we use our opinions to challenge the actions and challenge the opinions of others so we can get on one accord. Again, I say it's all about commonalities. That's what we're searching for. So through the debating and through the opinions, we're searching for commonalities. So if you don't have a basis for where you're trying to go, a destination, you don't have an understanding of where you want to be, or in every debate, what y'all trying to accomplish, you're going to just debate in circles. You're just going to constantly go round and round in your opinions because you're so committed to your opinion over the actual goal, over the actual destination. Again, everybody has an opinion and everybody has feelings based on their opinions, but you can't be committed to an opinion. You only can be committed to a faith, a purpose, a relationship, because a relationship is a purpose and a destination. The goal is to walk through life together. So how with all these opinions can we walk through life together? You can have a spouse that doesn't agree with a choice you made. Why would you have a spouse and act against the relationship without having the discussion first? That would be the first question I would ask anybody, because we're so entitled to our opinions. We're so dedicated to our opinions that we believe that they're so accurate that we can move without having that discussion, even though we promise to be a partnership. We promise to have discussions and make major decisions together. Yeah, it may be an agreement that we can make minor decisions to get apart because we believe that we will be in each other's best interest. But when it comes to making tougher decisions or decisions that's going to hurt the relationship, why does your opinion have to matter more than the actual goal? Challenge your opinion. If your opinion truly matters, then it will stand the test of time. It would stand the debate, it would stand the argument, and you would actually get the outcome you desire. But the only way you're going to get that outcome if you're truly in the presence of people that are working towards the same goals and destinations is if you prove that that's the best practice. We're not dedicated to our opinions. We should be dedicated to something greater than our opinions. We should be dedicated to best practice. And if we're not dedicated to something greater than our opinions, then we're not dedicated to our relationships. And we never could commit to others because we're so self-indulged and worried about how valid we are versus working towards something greater than ourselves. And again, that means entering a relationship. A commitment is something greater than you. That means honoring a faith. A faith is greater than you. It's beyond your opinions. It's something that you believe in because it has always put you on the right path or allowed you to walk in the right direction. So if you don't have principles and values and core values to govern your relationships, you'll get caught in this opinion. And the opinion is so flooded with ego, so flooded with how we want people to make us feel versus how honoring your agreements and honoring your commitments will make you feel. How dedicated are you to your opinions? You have to look at that. Your opinions is just a tool to start a dialogue, just to start a greater dialogue so you actually can get on the same page. And if you are holding on to your opinion over focusing on the validity of the commitment or the validity of the relationship, then you're going to just debate yourself out of a relationship. Or you're going to debate yourself into a one-sided relationship. Because, yeah, we all have people in our lives that don't tell us how they truly feel and they just go with the flow and steal years from our life. So when they say you're wrong and strong and you've been proven wrong, but you still hold on to that wrong, that's what makes you bullheaded. People tend to think because you have opinions and because you value that point of view or that perspective and you're willing to debate until somebody proves you wrong that you're stubborn, you're bullheaded. That's not what makes you bullheaded. What makes you bullheaded is if you can see the wrong and you can see the fact that that opinion is not truly helping the relationship, is not truly giving the relationship value. And you just focus more on how you feel and how it makes you feel. And you're focused more on you than we in the relationship, but you promise to be a we. That's when your opinion is faulty. So you can go hard on the opinion because you believe it to be so, you believe it to be true. That's conviction. Nobody's telling you to stop being convicted. We're telling you to have an understanding that in that conviction, it should stand the test of time. And through having debates with people who are obviously separate in thought because they're your friends, they're your spouse, but they're not the same person. You now have to have the discussion. You now have to put your opinions to the test, your convictions to the test, and see how valid they are to help y'all move forward. If you say in your life you have never been wrong, then I'm sure you're delusional because we all have been wrong, because that's why so many of us are so intelligent, because we've been wrong so many times. Now we know it's right. We have stayed at it. We have kept on debating and kept on being wrong until we found the way to be right and walk in the right direction. We get knowledge from testing the fact that we have theories and they're not accurate. So we refine them and we refine them and we keep refining them until we have consistency, until we have a clear understanding of where to walk, until we have a faith, until we have true conviction. We're acting now. We're not just thinking. We're not just in an opinion. We're acting because we know it's so. We did enough research. We put it to the test. We actually benefited from this way and this point of view or this perspective. Now understand, there's a variety of ways to get places. There's a variety of ways to have discussions. There's a variety of ways to do things. But when you're working on one accord, you got to find the best practice. You got to find the way. You got to find how we all can move on one unit, on one accord. And that's not going to take being dedicated to your opinions. That's not going to take being dedicated to your point of view or your perspective. It takes just being committed in your point of view and perspective and see if it stands the test of time. Again, the commitment is not to your opinion. The commitment is to the health of the relationship. It is to the faith of the relationship. It is to the commitment of the overall relationship. And if you can't see past yourself, then you're never going to be in a healthy relationship. So I go back to saying, we all been wrong. And in that wrong, we realize that our opinions are not end all be all. But we believed in it before we were wrong. And there's nothing wrong with believing in something with all you have and allowing it to be challenged. This whole discussion about whether you're committed to your opinion is all about your ability to want to be challenged, want to refine your opinion. That's when you know you arrived. That's when you know you're ready for a relationship, because you're not scared of controversy. You're not scared of finding what's right, what's best, and having everybody have a say in your life to see what's best. You can't just randomly take a job. When you have committed relationships, you can't take a job in another state just because you want to. You have to value everybody else's opinions. And together, y'all going to find the best solution that's going to fit the relationship, fit the overall. If you want to be a separate entity, don't join relationships. You know what? You can take that job if you don't have kids, if you don't have a spouse to talk to, if you don't have friends you're fully committed to, then take the job. You're a separate entity. You're single. You can do what you want when you want. If that's your goal in life, then that's what you need to do. So now all your opinions that's all that matters is your opinion, because you're not connected to others. But if you want to live life like that, that's a choice. Honor that choice. Maybe a lonely road. I'm sure you'll be successful, because without anybody attached, you're more appealing to companies. You're more appealing to, you can put in more hours. You can dedicate your life to an institution. That's a choice of yours. But when you have other people in your life and you have other people you love in your life, it's about sitting down at the table. It's about bringing up these opinions and finding what's best suited, best practice. Don't be dedicated to your opinions when you decide to become a we. It's not all about I no more. It's about us. Like I tell my son all the time and my daughter, like, yes, you are an individual, or I wouldn't say individual. I would say you have an identity, but your identity exists in our identity as well, because everything you do affects us. Whether you are, are successful, it affects us, because it makes us smile, makes us laugh. It makes us want to be a part of your life. It makes us want to study what you're doing in life. We're invested. If we love you, we are invested in the things you do. We are invested in your happiness, your joy, your passion. We are invested in you. When you do something that isn't the right thing to do, or we all deem that wasn't the right thing to do, but you do it anyway, it affects us. We're going to have to walk through and pick up the pieces, and, we're going to be sad and annoyed and angry. It affects us. It's the first thing you need to know with being in any relationship. The things you do, the things you say affects others. But that just shouldn't stop you, because it's not just about them either. And it's not just about their opinions either, or their emotions and how they're going to feel. It's about a collective group, a collective bunch, and having and fostering a system and fostering a environment where people are very comfortable with conflict. They're very comfortable with establishing their point of views and their opinions. But they know if they're in a relationship that's healthy, and they're in a relationship where people are open to have a discussion, They have to come correct. You're not going to just get your opinion heard without validity, without backing it with reason and evidence. Understand that. I'm going to repeat that. It's not about how you feel. Nobody's going to respect you based on you just having an opinion based on a feeling. You have to have validity. You have to back it up. You have to do the research. You have to first show that you are committed to that opinion. And in showing that you're committed to that opinion, you're dedicated to understanding how that opinion has value, how that opinion has validity. You do the research. You have the discussions. You do everything necessary to make sure that your opinion is solid and it's fact, transforms into fact. Not because it's 100%, but because it's best practice. And we're moving now. We're not acting on that opinion. But if you don't show that you are dedicated and have a full understanding and you're doing a lot of I don't knows, I just feel that way, I just believe that, you really can't explain it. But yet you still want to be heard and you still want the respect in a room full of people who actually have opinions that actually work to give their opinions validity. They have to actually put in the work. They actually thought about it. They actually sat in a room and really dissected it and then really put it to the test by allowing it to be challenged by others. That's when you know you're ready for a relationship because other people matter in your life. You're not just moving as a single entity. You're moving on one accord. You're coming to agreements and you're fostering a system and an environment where you're not afraid of controversy. I repeat, don't go see people for support on the fact that y'all argue and bicker. If you're not getting anywhere, that's one thing. But if you're listening to one another and y'all building a relationship through understanding, you will have conflict and you will have debates. And you're not going to stop debating until y'all on the same side. That's health. That's not a bad relationship. A bad relationship will fall apart more in silence, feeling like you can't talk to the person, feeling like you're disconnected, feeling like you can't argue. Your veins can't pop out your neck. You're still living in a political relationship. You're giving a person what they want, when they want, how they want it as a facade because you're going to do what you want to do on the side anyway. You're not ready to work on one accord. You're living in a relationship, but y'all living as separates within that relationship. Yeah, we hear people seem like they're like these great people because they're not fully invested in other people. So they say, that's you, that's me. I understand you as a separate entity. I understand you as the person. I respect your feelings. They do all of this so they don't have to be invested in the conflict. But let me explain something to you. People who care about you make the time to argue with you. They make the time to go back and forth with you. Why? Because they not only value their opinions, but they also value your opinions. And they know together y'all can come up with what's going to be actual, the truth, best practice. They believe in your ability to be open enough to forfeit your opinion if it's not valid. They're not worried about you worrying about your feelings and how you feel and how you're not validated. They understand that the fact that they sat there with you 2 hours, 3 hours showed how valid you are. You just happen to not be accurate in your view or your point of view or your opinion because their opinion superseded your opinion for best practice. So it became your opinion because you agreed with them. You can see where their opinion or their point of view benefit the relationship a lot more. So I really want you to think about how invested are you on your opinion? And if you're that invested, are you really ready for a relationship? Because as we say to our builders all the time when we're having our relationship building sessions and we're helping them build accountable relationships, we're telling them anything that you have in common, don't use it as an argument. Don't use it as your form of trying to understand, get understood. Everybody wants to be understood. Everybody has feelings. Everybody has opinions. So if everybody has it, that's not what's going to allow them to see you. You have to show the validity behind it, the reason and evidence behind it. That's what's going to allow them to see. They need consistency. They need stability. They need something that they could hold on to. When you commit, don't commit to air. Don't commit to the idea of something. Commit to the actuality of something. Know who the person is. Know what they fundamentally believe. Know what their core values are. When you know what a person's core value is, you can govern the relationship with those core values. If you know a person believes in accountability, then while y'all going back and forth, if you hold them accountable, they're more inclined to see what you're saying. They're more inclined to give you value and give you validity in that regard. Establish your time and your position in their life. If a person believes in fairness, you can have a discussion with them about fairness, about how if you don't clean up after yourself, it's unfair to me because I got to clean up after you. Who's cleaning up after me? I'm constantly cleaning. So when do we have time to actually spend time together? They can see the fairness in that. But if they don't believe in being fair and they like, listen, it's all about me. Yeah, they're not going to see where you're coming from because they have no core values. You hope that they change. They're not the person you want them to be. So why are you in a commitment with them? The whole goal in life is to start off with what we agree on. Having relationships is about starting off with what we agree on, what we have in common, working through the differences so we can find commonality. You can't move or walk to a destination until you know where you want to go. You can't say we want to sit down and eat, but yet have different ways to get there. There's no way you're going about doing that because you want to walk together and sit down and eat. So in doing so, you have to have a system in place where each opinion is heard, but you're working towards a overall valid reason. You're working towards an overall destination. You're working towards a commitment. You're working towards actions. You're working towards doing things together, togetherness. And in togetherness, you have to have a common goal. You have to have commonalities. You have to come to agreements. So you're not walking in separate directions and taking time and spending more time by yourself than you are with the people you love because you just are holding on to your opinion and you don't feel validated unless your opinion is validated. That's not how that works. Your opinion will be validated when it shows validity towards the overall goal. And whatever you're discussing within the relationship, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you put your opinion out there so you know that this is a point of view that they could assess, that everybody in the group could assess. Or if you're just talking to another person, they can assess. And then y'all keep going back and forth and breaking things down and slashing things off your list until you come up with something that you both can agree to. We don't ever say compromise because you're losing something in compromise. We don't say sacrifice because you're losing something in sacrifice. It just teaches you that true love means pain. True love means getting stepped on to get to the destination. No, we talk about agreements. Both people gain in agreements. So don't give up something. Have a discussion to what you agree to fits both people. And that's a skill in its own. But let me tell you, that skill can only be accomplished if you're not so dedicated and committed to your opinions. You have to be committed and dedicated to the belief of the relationship, your core values, your commitment, your destination, things that you're working towards. You can't start a building with somebody that wants to decide to build a house somewhere else across town anytime they want. You need somebody that shows up to work every day until y'all living in your building, until y'all built it to both people or multiple people's understanding. You want a building that reflects everybody. So y'all build it together. And in doing so, you have to have open line of communication to build the blueprints. But once the blueprints are in place, you're now building. No more talking about it. You're honoring it until you walk into something or you have a crossroads or, you might have to make an adjustment. Then you go back to the table and have a discussion. But once everybody agrees on a blueprint, You're now building, you're now acting, you're now walking. That's not an opinion. That's a faith. That's a relationship. You're now living in the relationship. You're creating routines and habits that are going to benefit the relationship blindly without having to think. When we say we are creatures of habits, that's true. We're creatures of thought so we can build great habits. But ultimately, we want to be in an environment where we don't have to think. We can move because we know we're validated within the movement. We have an understanding, we agree. We have an environment where we foster open lines of communication. We foster conflict. We foster debating. But the goal is coming to an agreement. The goal is best practice. The goal is walking together. The goal is strengthening our relationship. Set your goals, establish your goals. Don't be dedicated to your opinion. Be dedicated to the overall goal, which will form your opinions. Understand that. So this has been another Accountable Love Podcast. My name's Aziz. And remember, don't be so dedicated to your opinion that you're losing your relationships. All right, enjoy.